Hey there, Russ here. Welcome back to the shop. Yeah, you got me off my chair at my desk, my workbench. I'm over here right by the overhead doors right behind me, which means the street is out that way. So I'm just kind of sitting here. And the reason I'm here is because of Old Sneedlock Workshop. If you're not familiar with this channel, I'll leave a link to the exact video that I'm talking about. And it's about the new gas can regulation that came out a few years ago. And he brought the subject up on his channel, and he was talking about it. And like I say, you might want to go watch his too. But not only, I kind of got the impression that Sneedlock, Dave over there at Old Sneedlock's, he's never been a fan of the federal government and the bureaucracy. And quite honestly, I am very apprehensive about their abilities to accomplish things. Anytime they start regulating something, he's right. Most of the time they tend to screw it up. I have a cartoon. Now, if I find it, I'm going to look on the internet. If I find it, I'll leave a link to that in the description too. That really says it all. And it's about the old swing tire with a rope and an old tire and tying it to a tree limb. And that was the swing. That was the original design. And then they sent it to the government and went through all the different departments and had different iterations of what it came out to be. And it's pretty hilarious to see it. Like I say, I saw that first time when I was a little kid, so I'm sure you've seen it. That says it all when it comes to the government bureaucracy. But that goes for state governments as well as the federal. And quite honestly, I think most state governments are worse than the federal government. I digress. What we're here about is I wanted to talk about what he was talking about in that video. And that was government stepped in and made a regulation on all gas cans. You know, the old ones where you just took and you poured it and had the spout on it and you lined it up. Or if you didn't have a spout and you got it, put it in and taking it out, you always spilt a little bit. They were just messy. And then the government came along and said, yeah, you can't do that anymore. You don't want to spill gas. You don't want gas fumes. So they came up with a rule that you had to have a shutoff valve on the gas can that's spring-loaded. And I've seen different implementations of it, and so I can't really speak for all of them. But I had bought my first can about 8 years ago, this one right here. And it's a little 2-gallon can, and I use this one for my 2-cycle oil. I use it on my snowblower, which happens to be sitting right here, and you'll see why in a second. And my chainsaws, I have 2 of them that run off of 2-cycle oil and gasoline also. So when I went out and I bought a new can just for these items, this is the can I had bought. And it comes with the new valve on it, with the safety valve. And most of the time you look at it, when I first saw it for the first week, I disliked it myself, be honest with you. I thought, oh man, that thing's a pain in the butt to use. But actually it was just a learning curve, because now I actually love this thing. This is the best gas can I've ever had as far as I'm concerned. And if you've ever tried to pour this spout into a lawnmower, trying to hit that gas nozzle, which is usually halfway down the thing, it's hard to pour into. And with the way these cans are shaped, it's just, you inevitably, on a full can especially, trying to get that down into that gas can without spilling any, impossible. But with the valve, it comes with this valve on it, and this is the lid. And I broke the little strap off the other day, finally, after 10 years, or however long I've had this. But this is kind of important to keep on there, I think. So I'll make sure I don't lose it. Maybe I'll attach it with something else. But this is the actual valve. It screws on and off from here. And when you put this on, see if I can loosen this up. When you put this one on, you want to adjust this to the direction that you're going to pour. And what you want in particular is this little hook right here is what's important. And the reason that's important, let me take it off of here and you'll see. The reason that's important is that when you go to pour it, well, first off, what I like about these, and I'll show you that when I put this back on. When you tip this, gas doesn't spill out. This is the valve. It has a little slot right here on this one in particular. and it turns this way, and then you can't open it. If you turn it here, then this slot lines up to here, and you can pull it open that far. And this is the valve. When that's open, gas is running out of here, and it runs out there just fine, no problem at all. Now, the difference between Old Sneedlock's valve and mine, it appeared that his nozzle was a little bigger than this one. This is only 3/4 of an inch in diameter. So, and it fits into my, I keep pointing up because that's where my chainsaw is up there. I didn't feel like getting it down for this demonstration. But for it to come down and open up, that's how it opens up. And then it just sets back down in there and seals. And when you stick it upside down, it does not pour out until you spring load this back. And you can do it either one of two ways on this one, which I really like. When I'm doing when I do my chainsaws, I leave it on there. I tip it upside down, holding it by the handle. Get it kind of goes into the hole, and this is small enough I can still see in there. And then I just grab the valve myself, and I push it down like so, and watch it. And when it gets full, it immediately stops. So I really can control the flow with this valve, which is what I really like about it. So my gas can's upside down, where gas should be running out like crazy on the old style, but with the valve down here at the end, when I shut it off, gas shuts off. And if I'm pouring it into something bigger like this, that's what the little hook is for. So then to put it onto any kind of container where you want to hook it, and again, plenty of room for it, and I can see down in there. But for this one, you put it down in there, and then you take the whole can and you push it down. And when I push it down, the valve is open, and I can walk through the gasoline, and when I'm done, there you go. So this is really a great little valve for these gas cans. And like I said, depending on which way you want to pour it, let me get this back on there. So depending on which way you want to pour, if I wanted to pour this way, I would put it pointing. You could put it any way you want. I have found that just the old-fashioned way with the spout leaning out the end of that works as good as any direction. Now, these things do not shut off automatically when it's full. You got to shut it off. There isn't any kind of anti-overflow valve on this thing of any kind. So, and that's okay. I don't have a problem with it because it is easy to stop the flow instantly by either lifting the can up or letting go of the valve myself. So if I wanted to pour gas in here, very easily I just put it down. Now it's resting on there. And if I push down on this can, whoops. If I push down on this can, it will start flowing into there. So, looked like it wasn't sealing. There it goes. For some reason, it looked like it wasn't sealing on there very well. So, I've never seen that before. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, it was off-centered. So now, this thing is now set so that when I hook it, and then when I pour it, it'll start running out like crazy. And then I just lift it back up, release the pressure of pushing down, and it shuts off immediately. I've seen a couple of these cans on YouTube that had the valve down here. The problem with that is then this thing stays full of gas, so when you shut the valve off, you get that extra gas running out. So you don't have that immediate control. So if you're going to buy one, pay attention to the nozzle diameter like you would on any gas can. Make sure it's not too big for what you're going to use it for. But I found this works in anything I use, this smaller one. So I probably would never even see a need for the big one myself. As far as my writing more and that sort of thing, I use a 5-gallon can on that. And so that one's a total different game because lifting a 5 gallons of gasoline is a lot different than lifting a 2-gallon can with just a gallon of gas or less in it. And it makes a big difference. So, this is my spew. He inspired me to do this. What happened was I went out there and I was watching his video. It's been about a week ago that he did his. And I'm about 4 days behind, so it's been 3 or 4 days ago that I made a comment to him that I noticed that he didn't seem to like the idea that the government interfered with gas cans. And it was amazing how many viewers that were making comments were also reinforcing the idea that how bad the government really does. And I do agree with that generality. But in the case of the gas can, they did a very good thing. So if you're going to get one of these, just make sure, the only thing I can tell you is make sure the nozzle is not too big for what you want to use it for, because you can get these in different sizes. And it makes it a lot easier to pour. And this one here, being a 3/4 inch diameter, I have never found it to be too small to use in anything I want to use it on. So I would think that even if I wanted to use it for a big lawnmower, this type of valve, if you had that small valve on there, it'd still work. So that's my spew. I don't know what you think about it. And normally, yeah, the government messes things up. But this time, my hat's off to you, Mr. Government, because I think this time they did a fairly good job of making these guys do a better job of putting the valve on these things. I love it. I really don't spill gas anymore. Well, there I did, but I think that's because I had a little residual on there and I accidentally did it. So, but normally this thing does not spill a single drop when I tip it upside down, which is awesome. So, if you don't like spilling a little bit here and there, these new cans really are the berries. So that's my spew. I just thought I'd get that off my chest. And like I said, I agree about governments, but they actually did something right for a change, if you can believe it. So any comments, any observations, anything that you know about this that I haven't mentioned, this subject, leave it in the comments. I do want to thank you for stopping by, though. If you like this video or you learned something here, hit that like button. Lets me know I'm still doing the right thing. Most importantly, though, come back again because I'm nowhere near done. Thanks. And Dave over at Old Sneedlock Workshop, thank you. And you can find his video, it's the same exact name as mine, on his channel. It's about a week old from before this, a little over a week older than this one is now. So if you have a problem finding it, just use the link. Thanks for stopping by, and I'm nowhere near done, so make sure you do come back. Thanks, and we'll see you guys again soon. And you too, Dave. Bye.